Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, Coach K's Corner. I'm so happy that you're here. Here at this channel, I talk about all things special education. I'm a special education teacher at the high school level in a self-contained classroom. Today, I want to talk about the top 5 sensory items or tools that I use in my classroom. Just a little disclaimer here, I'm not an occupational therapist. I am just a special education teacher, and I am simply sharing my experience. So in no way do you need to go and buy all these items or implement all of this into your classroom. Just sharing my experience and hope that you may grab a little nugget of information and bye Louie and gain more knowledge and information that will help you in your classroom. So these 5 sensory items or tools are based on my students' preferences and what they use the most in the classroom. It's going to be student by student and case by case. So not everyone is going to prefer or need the same sensory item. Just keep that in mind when you are working on establishing your routines and establishing your schedule and incorporating sensory breaks and sensory diets into your kids' schedules. Now, that segues into another really great topic, which is sensory diets. Students with disabilities or students with sensory processing issues may experience various sensory needs. A sensory diet can consist of several different activities throughout the day that help provide sensory input for the student based on their needs. So, the 2 systems that these sensory items that I'm going to talk about today really focus on are the vestibular system and the proprioceptive system. Number 5 is the trampoline. I have a trampoline that is for adults and it even has a handle on it, so for safety. So students that jump hold the handle. I feel like this sensory item really helps release a lot of energy. It can help reduce anxiety and reduce stress. Some of my students really love it and some of my students aren't really into it and don't really need it as much. So the ones that do need it, we incorporate it into their day and they really enjoy getting that energy out. Number 4, I've lumped 2 together. So the pea pod and the bean bag. And I lumped those together because I use both of them in my classroom, but these aren't super popular items in my classroom. Some students really like both of these items and some do not. The pea pod, in my opinion, feels like a better option sensory wise for deep pressure. It kind of just feels like you're really getting a nice hug. Some students really like that and prefer that for a sensory break. I feel like the pea pod, when students get in that, it really helps to calm their body, calm their minds, and they really enjoy just sitting in it for a couple minutes and relaxing and taking a break away from work. So the beanbag is more relaxing for a break. They get to kind of kick back. They don't get the pressure of the pea pod, but it is still relaxing and can provide some input for them. Number 3 is not necessarily an item, but what we like to do in my classroom is called heavy work. So any type of pushing or pulling or lifting that helps provide the sensory input that they need, which can also help stabilize and calm the mind and calm the body. And is really great for kids to kind of move their bodies in ways that they may not typically move their body, or also do different types of work that they may not typically do. One thing I like to do is have students push a cart, not like a shopping cart, but a utility cart. I think that's what it's called. So it's got 3 different levels and I can stack heavy things on the cart. Obviously, I'd like to note that I'm never going to ask a student to lift something that's way too heavy for them. The heavy cart though is really great because they have to navigate the hallways or in the classroom and steer it around objects while getting that input from the heaviness that's on the cart. The other thing that I do is we pull a heavy wagon. So I'll put objects into a wagon and they can pull the wagon either in the hallways or around the classroom, or sometimes I've had students use the wagon with heavy objects to do a class job or a job for another student or a job around the school that is helpful for the school. Maybe like stocking papers and things like that. So you can do a lot of different types of heavy work. Those are the two that I've done the most in my classroom, which seems to really help students. Number 2 is the weighted blanket, and this one is definitely a class favorite. And I use a weighted blanket myself, and my students seem to enjoy the weighted blanket. If a student is becoming overstimulated in class or appears to be overstimulated, a lot of times I will either prompt a sensory break or ask the student if they'd like to take a sensory break. If they struggle to decide what they feel like might be best for them, then that's where I kind of step in, and the weighted blanket I feel like is one of those go-to items where I see a student's overstimulated. If they're struggling to pick something, let's try the weighted blanket and see if it works. This item provides proprioceptive input because of the weight and the pressure of the blanket. It can also provide this input through resistance. So if you've ever had a weighted blanket on you, when you try to move your body, there's a lot of resistance with that helps provide more input. So this one seems to be a class favorite. The top item across the board, item number 1 that every single student that I have in my class uses is the rocking chair. And just this year, one of my TAs created something called the Book Nook. So I have 3 different types of rocking chairs in the Book Nook. The first rocking chair that I have is a wooden traditional rocking chair. The second one that I have is a glider, and it's padded. The third one that I have is a gamer chair, where you sit low to the ground. And all of my students love all of these chairs. Using the rocking chair can be really soothing and relaxing and provide vestibular input. I feel like it overall helps my students reduce stress and anxiety and provides a really soothing, relaxing break. Also, the Book Nook is an area where my students can go to relax. If it's their break time, it's, their unstructured break time, and especially in between classes, they choose to go into the Book Nook, and they love sitting around in the different rocking chairs and reading books and talking to each other and enjoying their break times. So these are the 5 items that I use in my classroom. If there are any items that you really enjoy using or that your students really enjoy using, please comment down below, and I'll see you in the next video. Louie, come here. Come here. Louie, come here. Are you ready for the video? Louie, come here. Okay, I'll start without you. Okay, you just come over when you're ready.